Hey YouTube, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a video for you. Not strictly a knife video, but it does have a blade. This is the CRKT Kangee T-Hawk, and you can see it's not that big. What I've got for size comparison and maybe some other brief comparisons is the SOG Tactical Tomahawk. This is the full size. There's a smaller one like this called the Fast Hawk that would maybe be more comparable in size to this guy. But I want to put this quick video together because I have enjoyed both of these a whole lot. This one is a more recent acquisition. As you can see, I have been doing quite a bit of cutting with it. This one, of course, I've done more. This has been sort of my backpack hatchet tool for camping and everything else for a while now. This is sort of an addition to or replacement for this or whatever. I just really liked it, so I wanted to add it to the collection. And so here it is, and let's quickly go over some of the sort of specs and some of the description. The first thing I should say is this is designed by RMJ Tactical, and RMJ Tactical makes tactical tomahawks. They're very high end. You know, they're around $400, $500, $600. They service military, law enforcement, that kind of thing. They're very well known for that. And so CRKT had them design this and the other one. This is the Kangee. There's a similar hawk to this called the Coben, I believe. This also comes, I got the orange because I wanted it to stand out. I'm thinking primarily for bushcraft with this. But I wanted the orange that would stand out. It does come, you can get it in black. So let me speak just a little bit to size and weight. I'm not going to bother zooming in on this because I think like it's pretty big, right? So you can probably see. Maybe I'll zoom in just a little. There we go. And I'll move myself a little bit out of frame here. So there's the T-Hawk all together. I'm going to take a ruler, and do this for you. That should give you a bit of an idea. I've got this end of the ruler pretty well at the butt end, and you can see where it lands there, about 14 inches. If you need, you can pause that and sort of examine it more closely, but that gives you an idea of size. It's about 6 inches this way. The cutting edges on this are, you know, about 5 3/4 inches here, 3 inches here. I want you to notice this is also sharpened, as is the back of this. And so I have been doing a bunch of cutting with this. I knew it was coming, and so I waited for a while for some cutting, some tasks that I had to get done. I waited till this came so I could kind of use it and put it through its paces, and I have found it performed really, really well. Now, let's talk about, oh yeah, one more thing. This is 1 pound 8 ounces, so it feels pretty heavy. Now it is lighter, considerably lighter than the SOG Tactical Tomahawk. Of course, it's also quite a bit smaller. Let me back up so you can see that. There's the SOG Tactical Tomahawk. There's the Kangee. Now the weight distribution is very different on these as well. This is full tang, as you can see. This is not. This does have a good design in terms of protecting this portion so that if you miss the cut, you're not going to ruin it right away. I'm sure if you repeatedly pound it on this, you'd cause some problems. But I have also used this, pounded into a piece of wood, and then hit this with a hammer to split a piece of wood. Anyway, this is heavier, and the weight distribution, the balance is much different. Okay, this balance is somewhere around that point there. This balances somewhere around that point. So you can see how the balance point is much lower on the Kangee. It's way down here where it's much closer to the head on the SOG. Now, having said that, by the way, the SOG is also heavier. Having said that, in cutting tests, I found this performed at least as well as this, which is a real testament to maybe blade shape and ergonomics, where because of the angle, you can get a good amount of force behind your swing. You can get a good amount of force behind this as well, but the handle is not quite as comfortable, nor does it allow quite as much wrist action as this one does. Okay. So that's size and weight, 14 inches, 6 inches. I gave you the length there. Let's talk about the handle next. It is full tang, which I really, really like. And the handle is very comfortable. Now, it's the middle of winter here. I have heard some complaints about using this handle with bare hands. I used it a little bit, but for most of the time that I was testing this, it was like bitterly, bitterly cold. So there was no option of taking your gloves off. You would literally freeze yourself. So I haven't done as much testing barehanded as I would like. I've done a ton of testing with gloves. And I found it extremely ergonomic, extremely comfortable. I did try for about 5 minutes to cut with bare hands just to see if it was problematic. It was wet and snowy out, so my hands were soaking wet. I didn't find myself slipping or having any real hot spot issues. I actually find it quite comfortable. However, other people have said they don't like this. I'll maybe follow up at some point, or you can message me in the middle of summer and say, hey, what do you think about the Kangee? I've also used it. It's pretty neat the way you have the different cutting edges here. I tried using it to break apart a cutting board. You know, cutting boards are multiple laminated boards, and the one I was using was oriented in different ways. So I was able to test out how well this can work in this direction, where you're going to use that top cutting edge, and I use that to kind of delaminate the various layers, and it actually worked really, really well on what was a really, really tough material. You can see the coating here on the corner is wearing a little bit, and that's going to happen with anything, especially if you use it the way that it's designed to be used, okay? So the coating is there. It does protect it from rust. It is SK5 carbon steel, so it's a carbon steel. It's not a stainless. You know, kind of keep that in the back of your mind. If you're carrying this, it's a wet environment, you may want to, you know, keep the sheath on, but, you know, keep it by the fire, try to keep it a little bit dry so that you don't get a lot of rust forming. And if you're going to store it for a long time, throw some oil on it. Okay, so I've talked about the handle, I've talked about the blade, I've talked about the balance. Performance-wise, I've used this to cut off a bunch of branches, to split wood, and it works really, really well. And here's where I really notice. I tried this, and I tried this, and I've tried a small hatchet as well, and the hatchet works only marginally better. This was the lightest of everything I tried. This was in the middle, and of course the hatchet was heavier, but this actually performed pretty well on par with the other two, even though it weighs less and is smaller. And so where it really shines is the size and the shape allow for a fairly small tool, which is very, very effective, okay? Now, CRKT and RMJ Tactical, they design tactical tomahawks. I hate that word tactical, but they design tomahawks for combat. And there's a legitimate use. In fact, the SOG tactical tomahawk is literally a replica or a copy of the tomahawk they carried in Vietnam. And so there is a tactical application or a combat application for tomahawks. You can use it as a breaching tool, you can use it as close quarters combat, you can use it for any time, you know, in a combat situation you've got a lot of hard, heavy stuff to deal with, and this is going to shine in that application as well. I could see putting one of these in your car to help with escape if it was ever needed, or help someone else escape from their car. You know, you could definitely pull out a windshield or a window with this and have no problems. Much easier than, say, the glass breaker on the back of your folding knife. Very, very useful. I primarily have bushcraft in mind, and I like it because it's small and light and therefore easy to hike with. This is the sheath, and it has this retention clip here that's meant to keep things in place. I've got this cinched up pretty tightly so that if I'm wearing it, I wear it sort of in the messenger bag style like this. It's right up under my arm, and in that variation, in that method of carry, you can, it doesn't flop around a lot and it's not in the way. Further, if you put a coat on, you're protecting it even more. And so I find the sheath works very, 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 very well, even without the clasp on. you know, it's not gonna fall out. It's not hard. You can give it a pull and it comes out, but the retention is quite good. I do like the clasp, especially the other day I was at the house. My son wanted to look at it, so I said, here, yeah, look at it with the sheath on like this. Guess what the first thing he did was, hey, can I get this out? Well, he couldn't because that's on there, okay? So that was helpful for me in my application. The SOG sheath is just this button sheath, and he can't get it off either because the buttons are quite firm. But I think you can imagine that the retention on this is not quite as good as the retention on this. By the way, there's a considerable price discrepancy between the two. So just to be fair, I think this is probably around $50 maybe, and this is around $100. So just comparing apples to apples, just so you can have that comparison in your mind. So anyway, that is my take on the CRKT Kangee tomahawk. I find it to be extremely useful, extremely cool. It's definitely got a lot of style, a lot of cool factor to it as well, especially with the bright orange handle. I'm a big fan, and it served me really well already, and I can't wait till this summer to take this hiking and camping and stuff like that. There you go, YouTube. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we shall talk to you soon.